Dmitry Volkov is moving to Dynamo. Dmitry Muserskiy is calling it a career. Wassim Ben Tara is set to join the Sunbirds, and Matthew Anderson is coming back to Team USA. All that and much more in the latest volleyball news roundup. Don't know where to watch matches from the top leagues? Then come join my VK group, where you can watch them absolutely for free. Scan the QR code on the screen or follow the link in the description. 2026 has barely even started, and we're already flooded with some massive news. Let's start with the fact that while a lot of fans were wondering whether Dmitry Volkov would move to Perugia, reports came out saying that the Russian outside hitter might continue his career with Dynamo Moscow. And in my humble opinion, this move looks very questionable. It feels like, apart from better contract terms, there aren't really any other reasons behind it. I seriously doubt this helps Volkov grow as a player. So the jokes about the Russian national team being Dynamo plus Volkov are no longer relevant. Now it's just Dynamo. What do you think about this transfer? And according to Italian media, Perugia really were ready to part ways with Oleg Plotnitsky because of signing Volkov. But once Volkov switched his focus to Dynamo, reports appeared that the Ukrainian outside hitter could actually stay with the Italian powerhouse. Which suggests this wasn't an original plan to change clubs, but more a result of circumstances. And that definitely gives us some extra food for thought. But Wassim Ben Tara is unlikely to stay with the club anyway, as the reigning Japanese champions, the Sunbirds, are now interested in him. And this transfer honestly looks very intriguing. All these rumors started circulating after Dmitry Muserskiy announced, following the latest game weekend, that he would retire at the end of the season. I would have absolutely loved to see Dmitry return to the Russian national team, but unfortunately we never got that moment. Even at 37, Muserskiy is still playing at an elite level. He could definitely keep going at the highest level, but it's always better to leave on a high note than to just fade out. No hesitation here, smash that like button for the legend. And while Muserskiy was announcing his retirement, Matthew Anderson let the public know that he's resuming his career with the US national team, aiming to gradually prepare for the home Olympics in 2028, which should be the perfect final chapter of his amazing career. Oleg Plotnitsky is also planning a return to his national team. The outside hitter and Ukraine head coach Raul Lozano had a personal meeting during the recent Club World Championship, and as a result, they reached a preliminary agreement on the player's return. Let me remind you that last year Plotnitsky announced his retirement from the national team and missed his country's debut season in the Volleyball Nations League. Meanwhile, Lokomotiv captain Ilyas Kurkaev will leave the club at the end of the season. There are two realistic scenarios. Either the middle blocker continues his career with Zenit Kazan, or he moves to Japan. The player himself is leaning toward the second option, but there are still no concrete offers from Japanese league teams. Yuri Romano shared his thoughts on his future career. Let me remind you that the Italian opposite received attractive offers from Russia, and Italian clubs have also shown interest. Romano is open to any offers, but is looking for an ambitious project. If we're talking about Italy, negotiations are currently ongoing with Milan and Lube Civitanova. Modena was also on the list, but they chose Slovenian Nik Mujanovic instead. Where would you like to see Romano next season? While some are thinking about returning to Italy, others are already leaving. Monza's Finnish outside hitter Luca Martilla will play on loan for Fenerbahce until the end of the season. French opposite Ibrahim Lawani has left Italy's Taranto and also moved to Turkey, joining Altekma. Italian side Grotazzolina in turn announced that they have parted ways with Serbian opposite Dusan Petkovic. Miguel Gutierrez, however, decided to stick around in Italy. He extended his contract with Piacenza for one more season. According to media reports, opposite Kentomiya Ure will continue playing for the Japanese club Wolf Dogs next season. Resovia outside hitter Artur Shalpuk decided to extend his current deal with the club for another year. And next season he will be joined by German outside hitter Tobias Brandt, who is having a great season right now in Gdansk. Resovia head coach Massimo Botti will now combine two roles. The 52-year-old Italian specialist has agreed to take over the German national team, previously coached by Michał Winiarski. The Pole was forced to resign for personal reasons. Officially, Polish opposite Mateusz Malinowski has extended his contract with Lublin until 2027. The player is often used as a serving specialist. Due to the holidays, the news schedule shifted slightly. The second round of the Champions League already started this week, but we'll talk about that next week. For now, let's head straight to Russia, where round 16 of the Superliga has wrapped up, and it's time to briefly sum it up. Almost all matches ended 3-0. While many of those results were expected and logical, some outcomes were genuinely surprising. Few people were shocked by Dynamo Ural beating Yaroslavich, but many expected a competitive match. Instead, the visitors looked completely out of sorts even before the first whistle and offered no real resistance. And Yaroslavich's social media is now boiling with negative comments, with fans desperate for changes at their beloved club. Let's see if they get any New Year's miracles. Orenburzy, playing at home, tried to avoid a straight sets loss, and they managed to do it. Not only did they take the third set, they were also close to turning the fourth around after trailing by 6 points. But Nova didn't let the hosts pull off the miracle, winning 27-25 and taking the match 3-1. All 3 points leave Orenburg with the visitors. The most anticipated matchup was Zenit Kazan versus Dynamo, and surprisingly, the game lived up to the hype, a full 5-set battle in a packed arena in Kazan. Honestly, Dynamo should have been up 2-0, but they failed to hold a 5-point lead in the second half of the second set, which added even more drama to the match. And after 4 intense sets, we witnessed a blowout in the fifth. Zenit Kazan confidently dealt with Dynamo and kept their spot at the top of the standings. All the results from round 16 are already on your screens. As I said before, Zenit Kazan defended their interim first place, while the race for the top 4 is only getting tighter. Dynamo Ural move into the playoff zone after 2 wins, while Yaroslavich are drifting further away from postseason contention. At the same time, round 14 of the Italian Superlega took place. And first of all, congratulations to Grotazzolina on their first win of the season. I don't remember their exact schedule from last season, but they also went a long time without wins back then and still almost sneaked into the playoffs. So who knows what they're capable of in the remaining matches. Perugia hosted Milan and allowed themselves some experiments at outside hitter, but that didn't stop them from securing a confident 4-set win. Symbolically, Wassim Ben Tara scored 18 points against his future replacement Ferre Regers, who finished with 17 points while committing 6 errors on 8 serve attempts. The central match of the round was Trentino versus Civitanova, where the visitors tried to recreate Bulgaria's national team setup from the World Championship, with Alexander Nikolov taking more swings than all the other outside hitters combined. That system led to the same result we saw in the final. Even without an outstanding performance from Micheletto, the reigning champions won 3-1. All the results from round 14 of the Italian Superlega are now on your screens. The leaders all won in sync, so there were no changes at the top of the standings. Only Grotazzolina slightly closed the gap to Cisterna in the relegation battle. As usual, we move on to Poland. Round 15 was played there, and it became clear why Rezovia are interested in Brand. The German outside hitter, together with Gdansk, managed to pull off a very tough win against a more star-studded opponent, and he was one of the key factors in that success. The match between Zaksa and Lublin turned out to be unexpectedly intense, with the reigning champions needing 5 sets to break down the stubborn hosts. With Kevin Sasak absent, most of the scoring load fell on Wilfredo Leon, and his 28 points were a huge boost toward the win. The headline match of the round was supposed to be Project Warsaw versus Zawershi, and even though it ended in a straight sets win for the capital club, there was plenty of content. First, the Polish vice-champions somehow managed to blow a 6-point lead midway through the second set and still lose it by 5. Then Warsaw almost outdid that collapse themselves, nearly losing a set after leading 24-15, but they eventually closed it out 25-23. All the results from the recent matches are now on your screens. Olsztyn climbed all the way up to third place after a dramatic win over Barcom. Do you think we should expect more surprises from them? Japan once again delighted us not only with exciting volleyball, but with exciting storylines as well. Kirill Klets and his Arrows decided that if you play 5 sets. 4 matches in a row went the distance, and unlike the battles against Warriors, this time all of them ended in wins for the Arrows. So the Blazers without Matthew Anderson have now lost 4 straight matches and remain at the bottom of the table. The Great Bears, led by Bartosz Kurek, managed to grab points against the Sunbirds. They miraculously turned around the end of the first set after trailing by 6 and later also took the third set. But even that wasn't enough to stop the champions' record-breaking winning streak. That's 16 straight wins for Olivier Lecat's squad. The record was broken in the very next match, where the Sunbirds finished it in 3 sets and claimed their 17th consecutive win, setting a new club record. The Great Bears consistently entered the endgames with confidence, but each time they failed to hold on to their lead and take at least one set. The joy of victory was slightly overshadowed by the news of Dmitry Muserskiy's retirement. Still, he'll be fully motivated to bring the Birds one more championship before he leaves. A very similar script played out in the match between the Stinks and Blue Teon, where the visitors also had to turn around late set situations, and it resulted in a straight sets win. It seemed like there would be no issues in the second match, especially after a confident first set win by the Club World Championship finalists. But in reality, the next 3 sets all went convincingly to the hosts, resulting in Blue Teon's third loss in their last 4 matches since returning from Brazil. You can see all the results from the latest game weekend in Japan on your screens. The Sunbirds strengthened their lead, while after the Sting's win over Blue Teon, the battle for second place has seriously heated up. It's a shame the leaders won't face each other next round. Turkish teams still haven't returned to the court after the new year, so we'll break tradition and wrap up this news episode after Japan. I really hope you enjoyed it and that you'll drop a like and subscribe to the channel. As always, this was Nick with you. Love what you do and you'll definitely succeed. See you soon. Bye.